Good morning, Dan. Actually, it's not morning, it's afternoon when I'm answering this, but you sent me this morning. The two questions were question number two: when do you know it's time to adjust the loft of your driver? And in my experience, drivers get upset when you try to talk to them when they're driving. Like if I'm trying to move his hair to the left or right, or something like that, they usually get pretty upset. So I don't really mess with my drivers much. Question number one, which is the real question. I got asked this last night by a gentleman named Tom about how do you create balance, and there's really kind of two answers to that for me. And these are my thoughts. I don't know if this is the answer, but this is my answer. It's just simply my thoughts. The first thing I do is I divorce myself from looking at balance as any kind of time discipline, because that's just not what it is. I mean, I think time is measured. Absolutely. 5 minutes is 5 minutes. Everyone in the world would agree that 5 minutes equals 300 seconds. Even those parts of the world where, the sun rises and for 6 months at a time and sets for six, everybody still agrees that 5 minutes is 5 minutes and 300 seconds and these things, but it's experienced totally relatively. An example of this is, you get 5 minutes. Your daughter's young right now. You get 5 minutes with your daughter. That's pretty easy. When your daughter's 21, getting 5 minutes with her is going to be different, and it's going to be experienced differently, but it's still 5 minutes. So the first thing I do is I don't look at balance as any kind of time discipline. Time is important, but it's not the discipline. It's not the currency upon which I'm striking balance. I look at balance as reps, and I kind of divorce myself of time, and I look at reps the same way I do in the gym. In the gym as an athlete, and a guy who needed to be in the gym because I wasn't a great athlete. You look at these big lifts, squat, deadlift, bench, incline, hang clean, power clean, all these other things. Every one of these exercises has a time demand on it, but all of them are incredibly important. The time it takes to do a good squat, down, break even, pause, come up, is different than the time it takes to do a hang clean or a power clean. So the time doesn't matter as much, it's the rep. If I want to create equity as an athlete, if I want to create symmetry in my ability to perform, then I focus on the reps more than do the time it takes to do those reps. So like you've heard me say in the past, everyone in my family, I ask them every year, hey, give me 3 ways to love you well. And then I'm going to pick 2. So my lists never have more than 5 because this has got to do this. And then I just really double down on those. And I maybe even revisit as we head into the holidays. Hey, are these 3 things still important to you? And then here's 2 things that I'm going to do just because I want to love you the way I want to love you as well. But it ends up looking a lot like a workout program. I got to get this many. I get to get this many reps as a husband. I get to get this many reps as a dad to daughter 1, to daughter 2, to daughter 3. I get this many reps in drive the whole fast and high ground train with you. And so for me, reps are kind of how I try to do that. And I revisit those during seasons of intensity like the holidays, but it's always going to come down to the reps. And so I disassociate from time and I look at reps as the way that I cultivate balance. I pay attention to time because I think it's something that sometimes be helpful from a planning perspective, but time doesn't drive the train. Hope that answers your question.